day and welcome to Trendz Travel. I'm your host for today, Uslundiwe Wagamtalane. We kick off the show with a wine tasting in a very beautiful place. I might be biased because Richards Bay is my hometown, but I think it's the perfect spot to unwind, soak up some sea and some sun. Coming up on Trendz Travel this week, we look at what went down in Richards Bay. South Africa's black punks rock their way onto the world stage. Nigeria's artist on a mission to teach the world about Afro-mysterics. And finally, we showcase the London Light Festival with fun installations. All this and so much more on Trendz Travel this week. The 2017 December festivities kicked off on a high note as people in and around the Richards Bay area came to sample some great wines and enjoy great music and food by the shore. There were fantastic summery tastes from different South African wine houses, from sparkly bubblies to distinguished brands. All of this was well accompanied by great weather, awesome company, and even better cuisine. The awesome mood of the chefs translated onto the plates that were served and was very infectious. Hi trendy travelers, we are in the Umhlathuze municipality in the beautiful town of Richards Bay, my hometown. We're here to speak to beautiful people, drink some great wine and generally have an all-round awesome experience.
The Zululand Yacht Club is a sailing club, first of all. So our love for sailing is what we try to promote here. We are a non-profit organization, so we rely on our memberships and people supporting our bar and restaurants. So members can sign in guests. We also do offer our property, or not our property, our venue for private functions, weddings, birthdays, etc. It's all to raise funds. I'm extremely excited about it. It's about time that we all get together. When she approached me and she told me what it was about, I had to make a plan to host this event. So I'm positive. I think today has been only positive. The vibe has been great. The atmosphere has been absolutely amazing. It's been nice to see everybody getting involved and talking. It's been beautiful. I hope that we can actually have more.
The next highlight was fun on the boat, where we got to see the beautiful Richards Bay Harbour, a truly awesome way to start the festive season.
the main aim is to showcase Umhlatsuze. We've got a very beautiful area. People have a perception that Cape Town, Durban is more beautiful. I want the whole world to see that we are also the site. We have beautiful tourism sites. So the aim for this event to be the site to showcase what we have at Umhlatsuze. Hence, you're seeing us with the boat cruise this time. We added the element of the boat cruise just for people to enjoy our beautiful area. It is growing because we have people from Tuba, we have people from Durban. Also, I was so happy to see people from Joburg. So for me, it is a dream come true. I'm hoping that next year it will be even bigger than this one and it will even be more beautiful than this one.
As we continued on the leisurely cruise, the masterful chef served up some more tantalizing eats and some more great wine. As the sun set on the beautiful Zululand coastline, we made a promise to come back and explore much more of this magical area. We hope you're still enjoying the show, but for now we have to take a very short break. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back. The music and fashion of any place define its people and the atmosphere for those who are visiting. In our next segment, we go to Soweto for some punk rock. Then we explore some African fashion.
Punk rock has found a home in South Africa. In Soweto, a township steeped in rich musical history and pop culture, the genre is fast growing in influence and popularity. Local bands TCIYF draws a crowd every time they rehearse or perform. Fans were at first curious and then hooked. The sound that originated in the UK, America and Australia in the mid-70s was meant to be anti-establishment to upset the status quo and mainstream culture. TCIYF are promoting the sound and spirit of punk rock South Africa's youth.
Punk rock is what does it mean? It's great, man. It's like I can express myself freely. I can be who I want. I can be myself.
I think it's really influential throughout like popular culture and stuff. Yeah. Where else? No any other music does what punk rock does.
There seems to be a lot of interest and partaking, like the local skaters, even the little kids who are taking part in the skating. Yeah, that means a lot to the community.
Band members discovered their love for punk music while part of a group of skaters called Skate Society in Soweto about 7 years ago. In Soweto, a flashpoint for the anti-apartheid struggle, when music was widely used to bring attention to the cause, punk rock could be considered just another form of self-expression. But it is one that is relatively new and has resonated with the youth, mostly born frees, a generation born after apartheid ended in 1994 and has lived only under democracy, but still feel let down by the system.
We started the band via skateboarding. We like skateboarding very fast and dangerous. So, you need a soundtrack to fit that. So we moved on right from the skateboarding into punk.
Ready, set, go.
Punk rock has offered people an opportunity to be different.
There's this new vibe that South Africa is kicking into, Like people want to exploit different things now and look cooler than maybe the previous decade, I don't know. So I think that has a good impact on how when we throw shows, you get a variety of people, random people coming to shows now. People listen to house, hip-hop, you know?
The band recently performed on a global stage when the Afro-Punk Festival, originally from New York, made its debut in Johannesburg to celebrate fashion, cultural diversity, self-expression and black empowerment. The skaters/musicians from Soweto were the only all-black punk band to perform.
So nice to just see like punk rock out here coming out of the hood. These guys are from my hood, they're from Soweto.
The band hopes that the exposure received at Afropunk can see them taken more seriously in a country known more for its thriving house and hip-hop scene, especially in and around the townships.
Rock and roll don't pay in this country. So, yeah, it's just getting around and making things happen. But like us, we have this whole DIY movement thing, and we're used to living the life that we live. It's not like we grew up rich, so we just go around and make it happen anyway.
The rise of TCIYF and other black punk rockers around the country shows South Africa's already diverse music scene is expanding and there's still room for more. TCIYF was named one of the 10 black punk bands to listen to, along with groups from Kenya, Mozambique and Zimbabwe by online pop culture platform OK Africa.
Members of various tribes from across the India's northern eastern Arunachal Pradesh state thronged an ongoing music festival in Itanagar city on Saturday to showcase their cultures. Arunachal Music Festival seeks to preserve and promote the state's traditions and culture and help the younger generation connect with its roots, said an organizer, Takam Dadu Talum. Several regional celebrities and music bands have been roped in by the organizers to pull the youngsters into the festival.
Folklore cocktails को हम लोग आगे बढ़ाने के लिए हम लोग मेरा young generation को कैचअप करने के लिए young generation को अपना traditional identity को जानने के लिए यही हम काम कर रहे हैं.
The 5-day festival began on January the 17th. The festival saw members of different tribes showcase their culture through music and dance competition as well as fashion shows. Arunachal Pradesh is home to around 26 tribes.
No longer content with just showcasing their creation. In 2017, African designers called for greater investment in the industry. Africa's fashion sector has caught the attention of international designers and inspired catwalks in fashion capitals like Paris, Milan, and New York in recent years. But that appreciation abroad and the creativity shown by designers from the continent is not enough to get the industry to a place where it can contribute towards economic growth and sustainability.
Le but, quand même, dans une entreprise, c'est pas de prendre des risques non calculés. Donc, du coup, pour ça, on a besoin d'un socle et pour ça, on a besoin d'un cadre. Et dans cette industrie, c'est que nous, on est en train de fabriquer le cadre, le socle, la pyramide, ça devient n'importe quoi.
A recent report by the Africa Development Bank says the potential is huge but remains mostly untapped.
Targeting SMEs is the way to go, because SMEs are the ones that they are occupying, and they are the main actors of the value chain of the textile and apparel. Why? Because this is a growing industry that is picking up but needs additional investments to develop local private sector, which is they are the SMEs, and SMEs are fundamental agents of job creation.
In Nigeria, the Lagos and Design Week showed why the country has increasingly become a renowned fashion destination in the region and beyond. Now in its 7th year, the show has become a closely watched affair, bringing together rising and established players in the fashion industry. Designers revealed a range of striking looks in bold prints and colors that came in a variety of fabrics and textures.
I think they're stunning. I think a lot of them really show the talent that we have in Africa. So it's not to say that we can't compete on a global stage with, other designers from, Europe or the US or even Asia.
The South African Menswear Week was held by organizers as Africa's only standalone platform dedicated to the development and promotion of men's fashion on the continent. South Africa is one of the continent's most successful fashion industries and was worth more than $15 billion at the end of 2014. In its 5th edition this year, South African Menswear Week showed African designers challenging the imagination of men's style.
There are hundreds of fashion weeks on the continent. The problem is they are mostly driven by entertainment or other effects. What we've done to separate ourselves from everybody else is we focus on the clothes. We have only the best designers that get curated. There's a whole process to curate, to get the best clothing onto our runway. And that is why everyone comes here to look at this point where the clothing is, because they want to see what are the new trends, what's happening in African fashion.
The tests are done and over, and all the results are in. Now I have to wait.
In Zimbabwe, artist Rutendo Karikoga used fashion and film to channel the pain of battling cancer. Karikoga found out she had stage 1 breast cancer just as she was launching a career in design in 2016. She launched her exhibition of bags, paintings, and short films titled The Art of Chemotherapy. There were 23 bags in the exhibition, each inspired by a story about a person living with cancer or another health issue.
What made me cope during that time was painting, because I'm into abstract art. And that's how I could express how I was feeling at the time. Because certain emotions, the feelings you can't articulate, the fear, the anxiety, are you going to beat this? What's going to happen? And I found peace and comfort in painting. It's named after my uncle.
Less than 20% of Zimbabwe's people are in formal employment, according to the Independent Economist.
So I was saying that was named after my uncle.
Unfortunately, if you've just joined us, you've missed out on some great wine, some great fashion, and great music. But don't despair, because after the break, we have so much more excitement. In our previous segment, we explored music and fashion. In this segment, we continue this theme of art defining a people with some art exhibitions from all around the world.
Lalu Senbanjo is a Nigerian visual artist, musician and attorney whose work has been featured by Nike and on Beyoncé's Lemonade visual album video. He says his paintings have a spiritual connection to stories and his subject. For this woman, he draws a crown and lots of triangles to signify the 3 children in her kingdom. Senbanjo grew up in Nigeria's western city of Ilorin, Kwara State. His grandmother was very instrumental in shaping his love for art, as she constantly told him stories of Yoruba mythology and culture even when he could barely understand what was being said. To please his father, he studied law and worked for 5 years before deciding in 2013 to leave Nigeria and pursue his love for the arts. Senbanjo weaves his Yoruba roots and ancient Nigerian symbols into complex patterns. He calls it Afro-Mysterics.
You look like a very protective mother.
So after that,
it's called the mystery of the African thought pattern. The thoughts, there's a pattern, there are lines. Complex, but also something detailed that you can tell stories with. So I like to take the line on a walk, you know, take different concepts and put it in different things. Like I'm telling a story with my lines, with my different patterns. So I want these patterns to mean something. So a lot of times I draw inspiration from maybe Yoruba mythology, maybe happenings, it might be social justice, it might be a lot of things, but I just draw different inspirations and I put them on whatever surface. I do charcoal on board, I do acrylic and ink on canvas, I do a lot of mixed media also, but then the most recent one is putting my paint on the human skin, which I now call the secret art of the Ori, which is totally different. And that's what got me a lot of notoriety, because people are like, how do you paint on the human body? You know, so that just took a life of its own. But it's something I've always done. Like, I'm an artist who tries all sorts of medium. That's why I use the term everything is my canvas. I can paint on anything.
37-year-old Senbanjo has worked with American sportswear company Nike to create art-inspired sneakers. Last year, he teamed up with luxury brand Bulgari to design an artistic bottle for the Man in Black Essence fragrance. But it was the sacred art of Ori that catapulted Senbanjo and his Yoruba heritage to fame after it featured on R&B star Beyoncé's Lemonade in 2016. The album was streamed 115 million times, totaling 653,000 units according to figures from Nielsen SoundScan in the first week.
When Lemonade dropped, it was like, whoa, the whole world, seeing Lemonade, seeing the patterns, seeing the art. They talk about Yoruba culture now. Everybody's asking questions. I get to do a TED Talk. I'm going to do another TED Talk again in India. I did one in Canada. I'm going all over the world talking about this art, not just painting. I'm inspiring people to actually follow there. You know, it sounds so cliche, like when I tell people, oh, don't give up. You know, you never just know who might be watching. You know, sometimes I feel like I used to think that all these motivational speakers to the hell, it's easy to say that, but honestly, it's true, because I mean, your success is this close. You know, sometimes you don't even know how close it is.
Senbanjo also expresses himself through music, drawing inspiration from legends like Fela Kuti, Sade, and Bob Marley, and blending Yoruba lyrics with English. He says he plans to take his work to outer space.
And me more like okay. And me more, I don't wanna shisha, I don't wanna shisha, I don't wanna shisha. So the time is your journey.
I think a lot of things in life are boring. I just think they look so ordinary. Like, thinking of painting a spaceship right now, and I'm like, yo, I need to talk to NASA, you know? I think spaceships are boring. People are like, are you crazy? But I mean, I just think, why not put art on everything? We could put art on airplanes, we can put them on spaceships, we can put them on cars, we can put them on anything. You know, I just believe that life should be more colorful, and I want to leave the earth better than I've bet it. So, I mean, I want somebody else to come here and see what I've done and get inspired to do even more. Because I think we all add color to this world, and I think I found my calling, found what I'm supposed to do in life, and I just want to explore it to my last breath.
See, I'm an African boy and I'm proud. I'm a jale jale. Diro going on me, the fale. Don't be say I'm proud, don't be say I want to hale. Ha, Shango Walode, Oya Lodi Joe, Shango Walode, Oya Lodi Joe. Anybody matter fele fele.
Senbanjo says he's proud to have stayed true to Yoruba, Nigeria and Africa, even as he struggled to make it as an artist in Brooklyn on the international stage.
Some 75 artworks from domestic and international collections featuring artists from Tintoretto, Turner, Renoir to Vincent van Gogh are being displayed at Mexico Bellas Artes Museum in an exhibition dedicated to the use of an intense red tint obtained from the Mexican insect. Titled Mexican Red, the Cochineal in Art, the display centers on the use of raw material obtained from the cochineal insect, a small parasite that feeds on a prickly pear cactus, which was cultivated domestically in pre-Columbian Mexico. Shortly after the conquest of Mexico, pigment obtained from the insect became the second most exported product from the country after silver.
Through just a little insect, and it had enormous and very vital effect in the greatest works of art ever produced, the greatest scientific discoveries ever made, and the greatest period of economic prosperity ever achieved.
Europe was especially captivated by the crimson color and dye and was used to tint entire rooms from textile and statues of royal palaces in Spain and France.
This tiny little insect, genetically engineered in Mexico centuries before it ever reached Europe, to facilitate its production, had an incalculable effect on the world.
Featured is Vincent's Bedroom in Arles by Vincent van Gogh, loaned from the Musée d'Orsay in Paris. All artworks were previously analyzed by a team of specialists from around the world to ensure they contained cochineal tints. The female of the cochineal intinct is dried and then crushed to extract the red carmine acid. Additives ranging in acidity levels produce different shades of red. The dye is still used in present day.
Estos son nuestros extractos como tal. Y este obvio tiene que ser más.
London's dark winter nights will shine a little brighter starting Thursday as a nighttime art exhibition featuring a range of publicly displayed works that use light as a medium got underway. Lumiere London features over 50 works by British and overseas artists located in public spaces, buildings and on the streets. The artists who have created works include Tracy Emin, Ala Manawi, Julian Opie and Miguel Cavalier. The works themselves comprise a range of installations, including a giant desk lamp in King's Cross, a triangular tunnel of light on the South Bank, and one of London's iconic telephone boxes turned into an illuminated fish tank in 7 Dials. Minawi's installation, My Light is Your Light, in St. James Churchyard is a tribute to Syrian refugees, the Palestinian Lebanese artist said. Minawi spent 3 years working as an interpreter for refugees in Lebanon. After translating for around 1,000 refugee families, he said he felt the need to do something to share the painful stories he had heard.
Oh, that was, well, I can tell you it was hard. I mean, even whatever the media would say, when you hear the stories from the families themselves, it's even more. At some points you would feel that you want to do something more than what just interpreting. And I thought, as an artist, that's the only thing that I can do, and that was the main objective of making that installation. Was to tell the stories because they were really hard.
Rather than using LED lights as the material for his simple characters, Manawi said he specifically chose the more fragile neon lights, which he thought resonated more with the stories of the refugee families.
Like now, with this installation, the only thing I really look for is that when someone can stop, just look at it and think for a minute. Maybe relate, maybe feel something, and just move on. That moment of stopping and just thinking for a second, this is all what I want. I don't think art needs to do more than that, and it's enough, I guess.
British artist Jo Pocock was similarly inspired by migration for her moving installation, Flamingo Flyway, in London's Chinatown. The artist has also collaborated with the Lantern Company to turn Leicester Square in the heart of the capital into an illuminated, magnified version of the environment. She said she hoped visitors would be calm like nature herself.
So this installation is called Flamingo Flyway, and it's based on the migratory routes of birds across the world, basically. And the fact that birds don't recognise borders, they fly where they need to go and at the time they need to go. And I was interested in the parallels with sort of human migration, where it's obviously a very different kettle of fish for people that need to move across the world. So yeah, Chinatown seemed to be particularly poignant place. It's, obviously there's people that from all over the world that have settled here. So.
I think even the fun has a meaning. I think we're always putting things in places where you start to think about what that might mean or what a building transformed is saying to you, whether it's celebrating old architecture with something very contemporary or whether there's a particular message from the artist.
Helen Marriage, artistic director of Lumiere London, said the total of 58 installations all carry a very important message. More couch travels for you when we return, so don't go anywhere. Every annual calendar is peppered with festivals and carnivals from around the world, some small and some huge, drawing tourists and crowds from across the globe. 2018 is still new, but the fun has already begun. Hundreds of hip-shaking and wig-wearing Elvis Presley and Priscilla lookalikes and fans of the late king of rock and roll took a train from Sydney, bound for Australia's annual Elvis Festival.
strains of I Was the One rang out along the platforms of Sydney's Central Railway Terminal as jumpsuited, coiffed and guitar-wearing passengers boarded the Elvis Express, bound for the country town of Pocock, 357 kilometers westward.
Every morning I know still the same moment with you. Oh, remember that wonderful time. All we do is say hello.
Passengers on the 6-hour train trip were treated to a steady stream of Elvis-themed entertainment, with tribute artists belting out the King's biggest hits along the journey.
What a better way than jumping on the Elvis Express and getting up there and with everyone that's all Elvis. There's Elvises everywhere. We're famous actually today.
Yeah, look, the Elvis Express started quietly in the beginning, but it was an initiative of the New South Wales Train Link that wanted to promote the festival, and now we have it booked out every year. Elvis impersonators or tribute artists on the train, making people get into the mood before they even get to parks, and it's a wonderful success.
Well, I mean, it's a must for all Elvis fans. You know, it's just one big party, and everyone there loves Elvis. Why would you not come back year after year?
The festival, in its 26th year, is expected to attract about 25,000 people to Pocock.
But Elvis is close to my heart because we grew up with Elvis in India. From a very little kid, you know, we always used to gyrate and, you know, try to sing Elvis like, you know, there's a one full of morning, chief for show, 3 year ready and go, can't go, but on to you. Step on my blue suede shoes. Well, that's a little rendition. But Elvis the King, he's spiritual. He's spreading so much of love, even till today, you know, even after he's dead, it's growing and growing. So if you want to call it a cult, the biggest cult in the world.
The festival doubles the park's population for the duration of the 4-day event. Street markets, look-alike contests, parades, a car show, displays of Presley artifacts and tribute performances were planned.
You know, already been at the station for an hour, we can't keep the smile off our face.
Our cheeks are hurting from smiling so much. It's good fun.
Go, go, Johnny, go, go. Go, Johnny, go, go. Go, Johnny, go, go. Go, Johnny, go, go. Johnny, be good. Woo!
The annual and vibrant Black and White Carnival, which has its origin in the mix of Andean, Amazonian and Pacific cultural expressions, took place in the southwestern city of Colombia of Pasto. During the 2-day carnival, which UNESCO named a masterpiece of oral and intangible heritage of humanity in 2009, participants dress in black and white as well as colors to symbolize unity and equality while celebrating ethnic and cultural diversity. On the Day of the Whites, artists put together a 6-hour parade featuring colorful outfits. On the Day of the Blacks, participants are encouraged to paint their faces black to commemorate the liberation of slaves.
Este año todo muy bien organizado, cada vez se va puliendo el carnaval, que la verdad es lo que nosotros como pastudos queremos eso, que la gente que viene afuera de nuestra ciudad pues vea lo chévere de esto y la verdad cada vez más organizado y cada vez con más cultura.
Las carrozas están muy lindas, se nota el talento de los artesanos, son súper detalladas. Yo lo veo apenas este año. estoy impactada, es hermosísimo, está muy lindo.
A participant said that the carnival improves each year, while a tourist said she was blown away by the event. In past years, President Juan Manuel Santos has appeared at the festivals.
The skyline of India's western city of Ahmedabad wore a vibrant look as the 29th International Kite Festival kicked off with flyers from different countries joining the riot of colors. Kite festivals held across the state of Gujarat was officially inaugurated by State Chief Vijay Rupani. Colorful kites of different shapes and sizes dotted the skyline of the city as spectators were seen clicking pictures. People from across the globe have come to participate in the festival.
Oh, it's very nice and it's very funny to meet all these people, both Indians and international.
The 7-day International Kite Festival celebrated in Gujarat since 1989.
I love the Makar Sankranti Festival, the kite flying, going around, meeting all the people around Gujarat. It's wonderful.
The festival coincides with Uttarayan, which marks the days of Hindu calendar when winters begin turning to summers. It is the country's largest kite festival, during which the entire city takes to the rooftops.
The first World Ice Dragon Boat Championship kicked off on Wednesday in Dolon Noa, Shillinggon League, North China's Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region. Over 300 participants from 23 countries and regions competed in the 3-day championship that featured 12-man, 5-man, and 4-man ice dragon boat racing over 100 and 200 meters.
冷不冷啊？不冷，你看我棉裤、棉靴，2件羽绒服，冻不着了，再待3个小时没问题，从来没开过。尤其这个冬天呢，这么冷，零下20-30度，确实想体验体验。
Local temperatures dropped to -25 degrees Celsius, but it didn't dampen the enthusiasm of either participators or spectators. Liu, an amateur photographer from Beijing, said she didn't feel cold because she wore a lot of thick clothing. Same with traditional dragon boats. Ice dragon boats are also equipped with drums, which help to keep the tempo of rowing for team members in competitions. The difference is the ice dragon boats have ice blades by the bottom. And apart from paddles, there are also sticks with spike-laden horse hoofs used on the ice surface.
For this one, it's very well organized. Yeah, really enjoy it. This is our first time paddling on ice, and we really enjoy it.
Dragon boat competition is a traditional Chinese water sport event which has a history of over 1,000 years. The ice adaptation of dragon boat racing is evolved from ice sled, a common entertainment equipment in North China. The ice Ice Dragon boat has freed the racing from limitations of climate and season while keeping the skills and competitiveness in the original game. It is also more thrilling with higher speed and stronger passions.
Unfortunately, we've reached the end of this week's episode of Trendz Travel. Join us again next week, same time, same place. From the hardworking Trendz Travel team, we're truly excited to be exploring the world again with you in 2018. See you next time.